Welcome to RadioOnFire.com, home of the Diamond K Show. And now for your urban news and entertainment report. Here's your host, Diamond K.
All right, RadioOnFire.com, Shot97.com. I go by the name of Diamond K. I am in here with Duffy. How you doing?
Great as always.
We're continuing a conversation, a series of conversations, and I want to talk about the reaction in Ferguson and your thoughts on the grand jury's failure to indict Officer Wilson for the death of Michael Brown.
Man, that's tough. To be honest, you know, I didn't. It wasn't a surprise for me at all. I wasn't shocked in the least. Mostly because, again, this is a system that is not designed with everyone in mind.
Right.
So to believe that we are going to be able to get the results that we would like to achieve without having the proper representation in the places that we need them to be is ridiculous.
So I guess your thoughts are, because the grand jury was 9-3 African American, black Americans to white people. That's why.
Exactly. I mean, if the jury was at least 6-6, do you believe that they would have easily been able to indict this man? Not indict this man? I seriously doubt it, because it would have taken a lot more deliberation. They only needed 9 votes.
So you think that this jury was not selected on purpose? You feel as though it was the people's failure to register to vote and these type of things? I mean, because how do we know that the people weren't available to be on the jury and the jury was not selected to be lopsided?
Well, it's too convenient. It's too convenient to consistently say that the reason why these juries, much like in the George Zimmerman case, continue to look like this are because these people are choosing this when it's such an outrage. If it's based off of voters, okay, let's be real. How long did it take for many of us to vote? Till a black president was running. So I mean, a lot of people don't like to get on the jury. That's true. That is a true statement. So if you don't want to be on the jury, if you're always trying to find a way to avoid jury duty, when it comes time for you to be on the jury, why would you be viewed? Why would you be looked at? If you're foolish, anyone's foolish to believe that you could decline jury duty one day, right? And then when you want to be on jury duty, you can just jump on there.
That's true. That's true. A lot of people, as I said, don't like to be, involved in a jury at all. And so I think that what you're saying is very good. More people need to participate in the process if they're expecting a different result. You also had some interesting views on people wanting to join the police force.
Yeah, it goes along with what we're talking about. And it's not just the police force. It's a lot of things that we need change in areas where we need change. The police force and in politics. Well, we constantly say this white cop killed this black cop. This white cop killed this black kid and things like that. Well, as youth, if one of us says, I want to be a police officer, everybody else around him is, fuck the police. No, man, you a snitch. You ain't from the hood if you a cop. They discourage you automatically from becoming a police officer. But when it matters, when we need these people, when we need these faces, there's no one there because we discourage them from being there. Much like that kid that says, I want to be a congressman. He gets laughed. He gets ostracized the entire time because he wants to do something in the community to the point where he gives up on his dream. And then we complain that we have no politicians. Well, if we stop putting down these kids who want to be politicians, if we stop bad-mouthing these kids that want to be police officers, maybe we would have some.
And that would definitely help with a lot of things. So, Duffy has some views that some people may agree with. I definitely or disagree with. I like to know your thoughts. Hit us up in the comments section on that. Now tell me, based on what you've seen, did the jury get it right or wrong, or the grand jury?
I mean, anytime there's a loss of life, there has to be some type of justification. And from what I read of the transcripts and what went on, there's no way they got that right. Not at all. There was one section, I believe, where the officer himself said his hands were up when I shot him. Well, I don't know about you. I watch basketball, and when a guy throws his hands up, that's normally him telling the ref, I ain't touching him. I didn't do it. I'm not up to anything. So this is not a sign of aggression, more so a sign of I'm being passive. I'm backing off.
Right.
So if you're telling me that I shot you when you're backing off, okay, how did I let you offer that?
Yeah, I mean, the only way is that if they feel that you were threatening them or their life was in danger. The problem that I have, and I feel that the grand jury got it wrong as well, but the problem that I have is the way that generally, I don't want to say generally, the way that often black males react to interactions with the police. Well, that's the problem that I have. Now, if you have a person who has a history of being able to shoot and kill you, a civilian, and get away with it, just as Officer Wilson did and countless other officers. If you have interaction with somebody who has that kind of history and you choose to provoke him in any way and he kills you, it seems to me like the thing would show maybe we need to interact with the police differently.
Well, and that was something, you and I have talked before as fathers of boys who look like these people,
right,
that we're talking about,
right,
that you have to teach them how to deal with these situations. Because if they're properly taught how to handle a confrontation with the police, then we'll limit the amount of situations these boys are getting into that can in their lives. A situation as simple as once the officer approached him automatically putting his hands up without reaching for anything. What grounds does the officer have when I've submitted as soon as I've seen you? And I say to you, officer, I have nothing.
Yeah, but that
now continue.
That does not mean that in all cases it will still go the right way.
That is true.
But it minimizes. And
right.
I think that what the prosecutor in Ferguson wanted people to believe was the way he acted, Mike Brown, the way that he acted in the video that we've obtained in the liquor store, is the way that he reacted with the police officer. That's the message that they were trying to send, that he was a bully and he was a thug. He's a tall guy, a young kid, but very tall and menacing, and the officer had no choice, and it was him against the odds. That's what they were trying to think.
We've heard the story, but let's be real for a second. How many times have you firsthand seen an officer say something to a black boy, a black man, and his response to the officer's question or statement was uncalled for?
Plenty of times.
I have friends who are police officers.
I do too.
And I have a friend who told me a story one day that I'll never forget. Never. Okay? He stopped some people. He just so happened to be somewhere and see these people. Wasn't even thinking about it. And they were smoking weed. Okay? In a car. He walks over to the car and realizes that not only were they smoking weed, they were also engaging in intercourse. Okay? A guy and a girl. He comes over to the car and he politely asked them, hey, look, man, I'm getting off my shift. I ain't trying to do all that paperwork. Just put the weed out, pull off, go somewhere else, and y'all can do whatever it is y'all were about to do. Instead of the gentleman just saying, you know what? All right, cool. The first thing he says out of his mouth is, man, y'all white cops always fucking with niggas. Well, this guy just gave you an opportunity to put out your weed, something that at the time wasn't just a fine, and go ahead about his business. He got into a verbal confrontation. My friend put him in handcuffs.
Stupid.
Then he tells the girl, listen, put the weed out. All right? You guys can go ahead. I haven't even called this in yet. And then she also flipped out on him. He ended up having to call it in after putting both in handcuffs. And when they searched the car, they found more than just a little bit of weed. Now, see, in that situation,
that's what I'm talking about.
it could have been avoided when all he had to do was do what the
that's what I'm talking about. Now,
officer
there are many cases like that, and there are many cases where the officers are wrong. In his mind, he felt, I wasn't doing nothing wrong. Why are they fucking with me? And a lot of people feel like that. Luckily for him, he didn't lose his life. The guy that was in the car. There's so many situations like that, and what I'm saying is that we have to change how we react to the police.
Yes, sir.
Now, me myself, of course, you know the neighborhood that I'm from. Police around there all the time, right? And of course, a lot of people find that hard to believe from the my accent.
Yeah, the way you talk, and how white you sound.
Yeah. But with that being said, I was walking down the street, and whole nother story. I was using the phone booth, right? Remember those things?
Yeah.
I'm going to the phone booth, use the phone booth, and I'm going back in the house. And when I'm trying to go back in the house, a police car pulls up right beside me quickly, and officers get out, guns out, put your hands up. Okay. Now, this is a critical situation right here. I literally did nothing but walk across the street. And they put your hands up, whatever. They searched me and cuffed me. Didn't say anything other than their demands, do this, do that, whatever. I did ask, what did I do? And they said, shut up. Another car pulls up. And now they're talking to somebody on the radio, and they said, black male, what did he have on? I can hear the dispatcher say, black pants. And I had blue jeans on, but, maybe they look like black. And she said that the jacket was brown. My jacket was black. And I said, but officer, she said that the jacket, I said that. And so he said, but that can look like that color at night. And so they said that we have him. Okay. Now, another police car pulls up. There's a guy in the back seat. And from what I was able to gather, he was robbed with a shotgun by somebody fitting the description that they said. The guy who was robbed was in the back seat of the police car. And he looked and he said, no, the guy was 6 feet.
Oh, well, we know it wasn't.
So they instantly let me go on that. But my point is that had I reacted how the guy reacted in the car,
right.
Now I could have become upset because obviously I didn't do anything to this guy.
Right.
So that situation could have escalated. And if the police officer thought that I threatened him in any way, he would have been justified by police codes to shoot me, kill me, if he could, injure me possibly.
And see, what people don't understand, I've really known Diamond for a long time, seriously. He grew up Bernie Street off of Baltimore Street. And in all seriousness, we see all the time the way that some people in these areas treat the police.
Yeah.
When they're just, at the end of the day, they're people who are working a 9 to 5.
Right.
Okay? They're doing their job. And when they see these things, yes, you have to realize your part in it when you're doing wrong. And when you're caught, instead of trying to take it out or lash out at the police officer for doing his job, if we held ourselves to a little more accountability, we could also minimize some of what happens.
Right.
The area that Diamond spoke about him growing up in, the police were used to dealing with someone who would lash out, who when they're searching them, they're finding guns, they're finding drugs, they're finding these things, you know. So he's on guard expecting another one of his routine encounters. And if you give him that, he's going to respond how he would respond with a routine encounter.
Sure.
So you yourself have to hold yourself accountable for what goes on. At the end of the day, and I said this to you, I've been saying this to you since I was young. You only can focus on what you have control over.
Yeah.
And we have control over certain things. And those things are the way we react to situations that could get us in serious, serious trouble and even death. And if we hold ourselves accountable before we hold another person like a police officer accountable, then we can minimize, because there's no way to completely stop it, but we can at least minimize the amount of injustices on the street that happen to us, person to person, by police officers.
Yeah. And like I said, of course, we can't eliminate every situation, but you can minimize the amount of times that you give them the excuse,
right?
Of I was threatened. There's a 12-year-old kid that was killed that had a toy gun by some police officers. Are you aware of that scenario?
Yes.
What is it about once again, it's interacting with the police. However, you can't tell from the video everything that's going on because the sound is not there. But where's the disconnect? What is the problem?
Because again, I said it earlier. In our communities, in our neighborhood, we aren't taught to respect the police. We are taught to fuck the police. Period. And whether that kid was 12, whether that kid was 9, that is a message that the majority of our community preaches to their children, to fuck the police. So when that child's in that situation, toy gun, real gun, the police are, again, used to dealing with those types of situations. Now, is that saying the kid was wrong? No, he's a kid. He's playing with a toy gun. All types of kids from all types of different places play with toy guns.
Yeah.
What that's saying, though, is as a people, knowing the types of things and situations that happen to our boys, we need to teach these boys, don't point your toy gun at the police.
Absolutely.
Don't even show the toy gun to the police. And if you have that toy gun on you and the police are harassing you, officer, I have a toy gun on my hip, in my back, in my pocket. Let them know.
Yeah. But like you said, generally, a lot of times, often, we instantly get an attitude. Yes, sir. And things escalate from there. So if we could change the way we interacted with the police as black males, we could cut things in half.
Right.
A lot of the problems. Not eliminate the racist white cops that are out there.
Exactly.
Or racist, whatever their nationality is. But we could minimize 50% of the problems that we have.
Right.
So you're very active on social media.
Very.
How can people stay up with what's going on with you as we're up against the clock here?
Now, I'm going to warn you guys before I give you my information, okay? I have no problem saying whatever it is I want to say. I don't care who's watching. I don't care who I'm talking to. My mom, I love her dearly. She'll tell you the same thing I just told you. So with that said, I'm on Facebook. Tommy Oh Yeah McDuffie. I am a friend of Diamond K Show. If you're looking there, I'm on Twitter as TumTumMac24. I'm also on Instagram as TumTumMac24. And for those of you with PlayStation Network, you can find me there also, TumTumMac24.
Okay, very simple. I am at the Diamond K Show on Instagram and Twitter. Let us know your thoughts on this conversation in the comment section, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you, sir.
Radio on Fire is a digital network covering breaking news, sports, and entertainment. Check out our daily programs, articles, and all types of exclusive urban content right now at radioonfire.com.